Cloud. There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hope. My name is Tammy Lynn Connors. This is my podcast and YouTube channel, helping other people evolve. Today, I have my new friend, Shawn Mahone, with me. How are you, Shawn?
I'm great. Thanks for asking.
Thank you. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah.
So, you guys, I always say to the beginning of my podcast, God puts people in my life. They just like show up like, here you go, Tammy, here's another story of hope. So a friend of mine shared Shawn's video from last week, and you were talking about gun violence.
Correct.
Yes. And I was just like, wow, he's got something going on here. So I shot him a message because I'm not shy either. So, and asked him if he would be willing to share a story of hope on here. And what my mission and vision with Hope is just to help people that feel like they're struggling alone. I feel like so many people, especially in the last couple of years, feel like they're at home in their struggles and they're all by themselves. And there's so many people out here that have unfortunately went through struggles, but have gotten to a strength with those struggles. And that's what I do here. I interview people that have been through a struggle, but have gotten to a strength, and they've taken their struggles and taken it and made a purpose out of it.
Absolutely.
And that's what you've done.
Absolutely.
I don't know a lot about your story, and I'm super excited to hear it. I know that you're doing a great thing here in the city of Toledo. You work with youth, correct?
That is correct.
Yes, that's awesome. So I guess let's talk a little bit about Shawn's life, who Shawn is.
Well, what I would like to add is that I want this podcast to really touch someone's heart, to help you understand that you can overcome, you can go through and make it through. And I hope that my story encouraged you enough to know that there is a God who sits high and looks down low. So
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
Absolutely. So a little bit about me, Tammy. First of all, thank you for having me on your show. I greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it. A little bit about me. I'm born and raised here in the city of Toledo. My mom had me when she was 14 years old. So I grew up in the inner city. So I grew up in a household where my grandmother was helping raise me.
Okay.
And so I grew up in a household where I saw my mother call my grandmother Mama, and I watched my grandmother call my mother by her first name, which is Danielle. So I grew up in a household where I called my mom by her first name, not out of respect, but because that's the environment I grew up in. I went to inner city schools. In high school, still living in the inner city, I went to Rogers High School. And when I graduated from Rogers High School, I was senior class president.
Okay.
So I went to Rogers, did that, had an opportunity to go to Owens Community College, received my degree in criminal justice. So I started my career off as a police officer when it was Mercy Hospital years ago.
Oh, okay.
And then I had an opportunity to work corporate security where I traveled all over the country. And I went to the Kentucky Derby one year and lost my mind and decided, you know what, this is where I want to live. So I took a job working for the Kentucky Department of Corrections as a drill instructor at their boot camp for first-time offenders between the age of 18 to 35. Was in law enforcement for about 7.5, 8 years, and I stepped out on faith and ended up getting into corporate America sales and became very, very successful and was living my best life. But I heard a voice saying, pack your things, go back to Toledo and start a program helping children. And I was like, why Toledo, Lord? Why Toledo, right? So make a long story short, I ended up coming back to Toledo, and in January of 2006, I birthed the program Young Men and Women for Change. And what we are, our organization, we are a behavior modification boot camp program. So the boot stands for Behavior, Obedience, Observational Training. The camp stands for Community Adolescent Modification Program. So it's a program helping youth, both male and female, ages 5 to 17, youth that are just simply making unhealthy choices in life. So we're talking about the youth that are that is being disrespectful, disobedient, defiant, unruly, those who are lying, stealing, cheating, getting in trouble in school, getting suspended, getting kicked out, and even the youth that's been diagnosed with ADHD, ADD, and ODD. So this is a program where we simply take the youth, we break them down, we build them back up. What do we mean by breaking them down? Just simply stripping them from everything that's negative, begin to build them back up by putting positive reinforcements in their life to help them become productive leaders is what we do. So we're getting ready to celebrate. As an organization, we've been around 16 years, but we're getting ready to celebrate our 12th year anniversary next month on a program we've been doing called Dose of Reality.
Okay. And
our Dose of Reality program is where youth come to us on a Friday night at 8 p.m. Parents must stay for a 2-hour parent accountability program, and then the child or children is with us until 5 a.m. Saturday morning. So we just completed our 144th Dose of Reality program this past weekend. So we've had over 1,000 plus youth and parents that have been through the program, but only 214 children have been back.
Wow.
So that's kind of what that foundation
Mhm,
is right there. So that's what that is.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Now, do you have any siblings?
So I have two brothers.
Okay.
Okay. They're both younger than I am.
Okay.
One lives here in Toledo. The other lives in Atlanta. But, you know, the one thing that I will always say, because I'm on television and podcasts and things of that nature, is that I never thought coming back to my community to do something so positive would turn out to be so negative.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's been difficult. It's
Okay.
been very, very difficult because as an individual who has hope and have dreams and aspiration and have purpose, you know, it's hard when God is giving you a vision, but people don't see your vision because that vision wasn't given to them. And because you're doing something radical or something thinking outside the box, it becomes very difficult, because you have individuals that will literally fight you for what's right, knowing that it needs to be done.
Yes.
And that is just like hard.
Yeah.
It's like very, very difficult.
So is that family that does that to you?
No, it's more
the
of
whole city?
it's the whole city.
The whole city?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're carrying that type of weight on your back every single day, you know you're out here trying to fight for positive change. And then you have those who are literally fighting against you to bring positive change, because we have parents that literally come from all across the country to Toledo to get the help they need through our organization. So when you have a program that you know that's a successful program, but the powers that be are fighting for that program not to be the light in our community,
Yeah.
that becomes very difficult. That
Sure.
becomes very, very hard, because you're like, God, I know you called me to do this. Why would you allow me to go through this? But to whom is given, much is required. So I
That's true.
understand
That is a fact.
Yeah,
That is a
yeah.
fact. And that's what, so when I was listening to your video and I heard you say on there, and I think this is what really, I don't even know why it really got me, but you said, I can share a picture of a pair of shoes and 200 people will like it. But when I share about what you're doing, your mission and vision, 3 people will respond.
Yeah, and it's sad that we can actually tell the mindsets of our people through what we post on social media. Like you can just say, I want you to have a blessed day, a productive day, and that might cheer someone up, and everybody hit the like button. Or you might say, I brought a pair of shoes today, and here they are, and then 200 people like it.
Right.
But then they don't use that same energy to say, hey, this is what I'm doing to help you. Can you advocate? Can you donate? Can you,
Yes.
volunteer? Can you? And the people just get quiet and they'd be like, I'm not interested in that. But then we have these issues going on in our community that needs to be addressed. But I'm a firm believer that nothing changes if nothing changes.
That's true.
So,
I agree with that.
yeah.
I agree with that. So you talked a little bit about that you struggle a little bit with depression.
Yeah. So I struggle with depression, and I'm not ashamed to let people know that I struggle with depression, because, it's hard when you're fighting to do the right thing. When you're fighting to do the right thing and you keep getting knocked down, there are days that I just don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want a phone call. I don't want anything. But what ignites that, taking that negative and turning it into a positive, is a parent calling me. They're crying out for help. And so that's God's way of saying, quit beating up on yourself.
Yeah.
Woe is me moments are over. Get up, open the curtains, make up your bed like you normally do, and let's get out there in the street and go out here for positive change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge too.
It is.
And it's funny, or my friend and I, we used to always be like, it's crazy how, and now we're like, it's just amazing how God does that. Like, I could be doing that too. Like, am I really doing enough? Is this really reaching people? And then I get that one message from somebody and I'm like, yes, it's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And I think that's God's way of, doing that.
Yeah.
So your program now, do you have like a building, or how does that all work? How does this work?
So listen, again, I've been doing this program for 16 years. So I'll use our Dose of Reality program, right? We've been doing that for 12 years, and I can't tell you the number of places we've been kicked out of for doing something positive. Because unfortunately, people look at things from a financial standpoint.
Right.
And so I tell individuals all the time that for me, this is not about income. This is about impact. This is not about profit. This is about purpose. So, so God has really been, with vision, he provides provision. So we finally found this facility in the heart of downtown Toledo. And I knew it was nothing but God, because I asked a gentleman who owns property. I was like, hey, I just need a little office so I can meet with my parents and whatnot and do my program. And he said, he thought for a minute, he was like, I seen you on television. I see what you do. He's like, you need a standalone building. And I was like, a standalone building? He was like, yeah, you need something that is specifically catered to what you do. You shouldn't be in a office setting or building with other tenants. You should have your own. So he walked me to this facility at 323 North Huron Street, and the downstairs was huge. And I was like, oh yeah, this would be great. But then he takes me upstairs. And when he takes me upstairs, the vision was out there. And I was like, God, this is nothing but you, because the building is 11,500 square feet. And so part of that is I want to be able to have a housing program there where we can house you 30, 60, 90, up to 120 days.
Okay.
In this facility, we want to be able to provide behavior modification, behavior health, education, drug and alcohol treatment, anger management, parent accountability, and community involvement and awareness. This is what I want to do under one roof. My biggest thing is being able to create economic development, to create jobs and opportunity, and show people how we all can win by being on the same team. There is no I, it's a we. So I've been doing it. And so the crazy thing about it is that I've been funding this program out of my pocket for the past 16 years. So it's amazing to me that I was a single dad raising my son. He was 2 at the time I started this program. Now he's 18. He just graduated from St. John's. He's a freshman at Bowling Green State University. And it just blows my mind because God has literally covered us and kept us. And yeah, I've been getting, when it comes to, because we're a 501c3 organization. So when I apply for grants that the city is giving out and I keep getting turned down, I'm like, Lord, what are we doing here?
Right.
Like, why are people fighting me so hard? Because I believe that what God wants me to do is he wants me to have a platform to be able to share like we're sharing today. There are people out there that really want to step out on faith, because I believe faith is seeing the invisible, believing the impossible, and receiving the incredible. So it's mind-boggling because, you know, I've been funding this, but we've been taken care of, you know? And so of course the enemy comes, and of course, you know, that spirit of depression creeps up on you. Again, you just be like, I just don't feel like doing this today. But then again, you get that call and then people are coming and people are calling. And but before I came to this podcast, I had three young children I had to talk to, you know, grandmama, great grandmother is at their wit's end. They don't know what else to do. And so I'm just like, oh my God. But then the flip side of that is when I see the city paying people big money to create a program called Violent Interrupters that really don't understand what violent interrupter truly means. But you already have someone that's been doing this for 16 years that can show you how to build healthy relationships in the community, have an accountability, a program attached to it, hold parents accountable. And when nobody's listening, you're like, what am I here for, Lord? You know, if this is as good as it gets, you could take me now. And that's just how I feel when I'm fighting, trying to get out of bed. So we have this facility in the heart of downtown Toledo. And so I'm just trusting and believing that the finances will come, the right people will come, so we can make a greater change, not just locally, but globally.
And the thing is you were talking, when you started that, talking about people going out on their faith, right? And there's probably are so many people that'll listen to this and they'll be like, well, we can't see you. There. Whoops. That's why I say it's real life here. But so many people are so afraid that fear stops them, you know, the fear of what people's going to look at me and what are they going to think if I try to help with something like that, or the fear of failure, right?
Right.
And I think that even when I talked to you a little bit about me starting this, you know, I had a fear, like what good, you know, is this really going to make it? And I do have my days too, where I'm like, and then that message comes. And maybe I only have 5 downloads on one podcast, but then one has 100. And I'm like, the impact that we make is, okay, this is something I believe with my whole heart, that we all have a purpose and we have a gift here. Right? Whether it's Steve Harvey says it's French fries, chicken, or Moe's grass, you know, we all have our gift. And so many people never find that gift, unfortunately, because they start finding it and then somebody says, what are you doing that for? Right? Because I'm sure that you've heard, you've already expressed that. I'm sure that you've heard that a lot. And I would say 90% of people just say, yeah, you're right. Why would I do that? Right.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
why am I doing this? You know,
Mhm.
even like when I moved to Arizona, people are like, are you crazy? You're going to leave your son, you're moving to Arizona. I'm like, man, this is just what I want to do right now.
Mhm.
And taking that step of faith, and God will carry us for sure through
Absolutely.
everything. And even the days that you're like, oh, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And
Mhm.
like you said, he's covered you and your son for 16 years.
Yeah,
now?
16
16
years.
years now,
Mhm.
completely.
Well, 18, because he's 18 now. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, so I think that that's a big thing that people need to know, that we talk about all the time. Face your fears, faith of a mustard seed. You know, there's so much out there. And I'm a big person that I talk about that a lot. Like so many people are like, sit at home and they're like, well, I'm afraid to go help with that. Why?
Mhm.
Why? You could impact one person. If you can impact one person's life, imagine that one person impacting 2 people, and then 4 people, and then 8 people. And then there goes that whole effect of that snowball effect,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So people in the city, step up to the plate. I'm gonna find out more information about this, because I really think that, I was telling you this earlier, my heart and passion's always been for youth. You know, I think about my youth and my teenage years and what I went through, and I didn't have anybody to talk to, you
Mhm.
know, and I think it's so important. And I talked a little bit with you with my thing with mental health. I think mental health is so important.
It is. It is.
You
And,
know.
and so what I've tried to do is show how behavior modification and behavior health goes hand in hand. Because if you can modify the behavior and help youth and parents or families understand the accountability aspect of it,
Mhm.
now you're able to do effective case management, counseling, therapy, psychotherapy, proper drug and alcohol treatment. Like this young man was 13 that I talked to today, and he's in school with his friends smoking weed.
Mhm.
You know, so automatically I go, yeah, he needs to be in a drug and alcohol treatment program like now.
Mhm.
Before he turns 15, 16, 17, he's off into other things. So
Mhm.
that's just kind of how I process things when I'm doing consultation with families. And people just have to know that, you know, it's okay to do what you think you shouldn't be doing or you're afraid to do.
Mhm.
And I think once people get over that hump and realize, like, man, if Mr. Shawn could step away from making 6 figures a year to nothing, but God is carrying him
Mhm.
and he's able to still have a healthy lifestyle, maybe I can do the same. Or those who might want to say, I really want to help with this program, but because of the negative stigma of boot camp, right?
Mhm.
So let me let the viewers know what the boot camp stands for. The boot stands for behavior, obedience, observational training. The camp stands for Community Adolescent Modification Program. So it's a program that I use as the word boot camp as an attention getter,
Mhm.
because I know that's what people are looking for. The family I just helped. First thing she said, she typed in looking for boot camps, and she said, and our organization popped up.
Mhm.
The problem that I have here in the city is that unfortunately, our chief of police are not telling the police officers about this program, which when the police officers see me in action
Mhm.
and de-escalating in the community, they're like, this is an awesome program. How come we don't know anything about it? And I said, well, because your chief of police won't tell you. And then if you call right now to our juvenile court, they won't tell you about this program, which is very sad. And
That is sad.
I think that is the spiraling for my depression,
Mhm.
because I'm thinking like, why would you deny people an opportunity that's crying out for help
Mhm.
and tell them there's nothing, when you can just say, hey, there is a program out there. We don't have anything to do with it, but there is a program out there that might can help you.
Mhm.
And they refuse to do that. So I'm like, oh my God. So when I see that our youth are the shootings, the gun violence that's taking place,
Mhm.
when I see that, the first thing I think about is the what if. What if I had an opportunity to
Mhm.
speak life into them, to turn them around, to help that parent that I know that's been crying out for help? So when the end result is prison yard or graveyard, I kind of take that personally myself,
Mhm.
because I'm thinking, if I've been doing this for 16 years, I'm thinking of how many children I could have helped in 16
Mhm.
years that ended up in the prison yard or the graveyard
Mhm.
only because you didn't want to tell people
Mm.
about this program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived here 57 years
Mhm.
and never had any idea about this at all.
Right.
And it's, I could have used you with some of my family members. Trust me. Trust me. Yeah. So you have an event coming up? Is there any event?
Yeah, so I have an event coming up October the 21st. It's
Okay.
our 145th Dose of Reality program, but we're also celebrating our 12th year anniversary.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that because we have literally been doing this program for 12 years. Friday night, 8 p.m., 5 a.m. Saturday morning.
Mhm.
You know, parents are coming from all across the country, and you know, it's been amazing. It's been truly, truly amazing. So I'm excited just to know that we've crossed that milestone.
Right,
You know,
right.
we've been able to do something here in the city of Toledo that has not been nowhere in the country.
Mhm.
And that's another thing that I just want to touch base with as well. We have a program that can be the light of the world.
Okay.
You know, we can do something positive right here in Toledo, Ohio, Lucas County, that can make a global impact and make great strides in what we're trying to do in our community, in our schools, and our homes. We do a program in the schools for suspension expulsion program. We have gone into schools. I developed a program where I can reduce out of school suspension by 80%.
Oh, wow.
So the schools I've been in, they've gotten awards from the Ohio Department of Education called PBIS, which is called Positive Behavior Intervention Support, where we're able to reduce out of school suspension by 80%. How? Because we keep them butts in the seats and not in the streets. So suspension is no longer a vacation to children.
Mhm.
When you get suspended, you will serve that suspension in school and you will be here and doing your homework. And if you go above that, then you'll spend a night with us at the Dose Reality program.
Okay.
That way now mom is mad because she's got to give up 2 hours of her Friday to sit in the 2-hour accountability class and whatnot. So it's been working for us tremendously over the past 16 years. So my prayer is that God will send those who will fund the program, who will volunteer for the program, to support the program, so we can get this thing to the next level.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so cool what you're doing. That's you said something in there that I was gonna, oh, I know earlier we were talking about when you think, if you're thinking negative, then you turn it into a positive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I tell that to people too. Like you can't have both. Right?
Can't have both. You
can't.
can't. No.
So my big thing always is, you know, somebody just said to me, like I said, I work at the casino, so you get a lot of people there like, how are you today? And I'm like, yeah, but when you woke up today, how were you?
Right,
Because I want to go back to that. I know you lost money, right? And I'll say that to them too, like before they even buy in, I'm like, but no, how are you right now? I want to know how you are right now.
Right.
But I tell them that, I'm like, well, you know, if you wake up in the morning, and people probably are like, whatever, you open your eyes and you're like grateful that you just woke up today, you know, and taking that, like you said, you can wake up and just be like, oh, but if you can just be like, but I'm breathing,
Right.
you know, and my business is still going after 16 years, you know, here in 12 years. And then you can turn that negative into a positive.
Right.
Always,
Absolutely.
You know? So do you do that?
I do. And one thing that I like we did at our Dose Reality program, I actually tell parents, I give them a mirror and I tell the parents, don't wipe the mirror off because the mirror has kind of got fingerprints and it's smudgy. I want you to take a look at yourself in the mirror and I want you to identify who that person is that you're looking at. So when you look in the mirror, you have to be able to be transparent with that person in the mirror. And you have to be able to say things like, am I okay? How do I really feel? What mistakes that I made or what traumas have I been through that is causing me to be in a place where it's affecting my home, it's affecting my children, it's affecting my marriage, you know? So let's get real with the person in the mirror. And you got to be able to speak positive affirmations over yourself. You know, you got to wake up and say, good morning, Sean. It's a great day.
Yes.
I know you feel like crap, but there's lives that need to be saved. Put a smile on your face and let's go out there and make a difference. Go in the world today, Sean, and be great. And that's how I talk to myself to come out of that so I can move forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny that I just last night was thinking of that because I mean, years ago, if you were talking, well, still people think that if you're talking to yourself like that, they think you're either vain or, you know, you're crazy, one of the two. And so I was just thinking, because I do that a lot now, like, and I was listening to a podcast or something yesterday and they're like, you got to tell yourself you're beautiful. You got to tell yourself you're great. And I'm like, I do that. And I'm like, if somebody heard me, they'd be like, really? But I have to, because no one else is going to do it out there. Right. You might say, yeah, Tim, you're a great person, but until you look in that mirror yourself, and you believe it yourself. But I like what you said about, because I've never said this before, but this makes, and my friend just said it today too, like looking in that mirror and finding out, okay, are you really okay? Is it, what is really going on? And we just were talking about somebody that had like a breakdown for no really reason. Like there was a little trigger of something, but then the whole meltdown came. And then it wasn't anything to do with what that happened. it was deeper.
It was
And so
deeper.
when you just said that, so that means that's something, I always say that if I hear something twice, that means it's something I got to look into to find out more information about. So it's deeper than that.
Right.
And I've never, so I'm always telling people, look in the mirror, say, I am great, I am beautiful, I'm healthy, you know, I'm blessed. What am I going to do today to help other people? But you're right, you have to look in the mirror sometimes too and be like, am I really okay? Or because I have those days too, where it's just like, ah, and I'm like, why are you crying? But I never really look to see like, why are you crying? I just go positive and get washed away. So,
and the underlying issue is that we all are dealing with some type of trauma, whether it's from our childhood to adulthood, that we just never dealt with. We never addressed it. We just pushed it underneath the rug and was like, okay, pretend it's not there. But then it keeps coming back up, and then you're trying to figure out what's really going on. That's when you got to look in the mirror, and you got to be able to do a self inventory. And the only way that's going to happen is you got to clean out your inventory. Clean out your inventory, which can be a very painful process, but you got to clean out your inventory so you can deal with the real issues that will cause you to be healthier. And people may not realize, but when you internalize certain things and you hold on to it, it affects our health. It affects our health, not just our mental health, but our physical health. Yeah.
Yes.
So that, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, it is. It's you said that, and a friend of mine yesterday just said that she thinks that some of the issues, health issues she's having, her doctor just told her it's mostly stress, you know, and people don't realize, and keeping that in, you know, it's, and it's part of the word, I'm just gonna go into forgiveness right now then too, because I feel like, you know, you keep that inside, and then people are like, oh, well, you got to forgive the person, which I get, but people need to know that forgiveness doesn't mean I have to walk up and say, I'm just gonna use as an example, whatever you did to me years ago, you're forgiven and go on. It's forgiving them through yourself. Right.
Correct.
You know, so, cause I know that a lot of people are like, well, how can you, my son's dad was very abusive. I forgive him. That's who he was, you know, who knows what made him be like that, but I had to forgive him myself in order for me to be healthy.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think that's powerful too. And I'm sure that you probably work with that with the kids a lot too, you know, just, yeah, I mean, this has been a really good conversation. I've enjoyed it a lot. So, are you enjoying it?
I am enjoying it.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So, YMWFC. That's your.
Yep. The
business, right?
YMWFC is Young Men and Women for Change. Yes. And then if the viewers want to go to our Facebook page, they can look at Young Men and Women for Change, or they can go to my page. My page is public. I'm very transparent. I'm an open book. They can look me up, Shawn Mahone Sr., Mr. Yeah, Mr. Shawn Mahone Sr. That's what everybody calls me in the community, is Mr. Shawn. So, and then they can just, just kind of hear and follow and see what I talk about or whatnot. And because at the end of the day, I tell people, I want to see us win.
Yes.
I want to see us win at the end of the day. If I make it, we make it. If I eat, you eat. If I'm successful, you're successful. And we got to have that positive energy to go back and forth to tear down any strongholds that may be holding on us in our lives.
Yes, and in our city.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And I think that's where my biggest battle is knowing that I'm fighting for our city, not just for Shawn, and just not for the organization, but fighting for a community, for a city that needs some type of positive change to propel us to do a greater work in our communities.
Yes. What you're doing is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming here today and chatting with us. And I always say, like, down the road, we'll meet up again and see where things are going.
Absolutely.
But I definitely, it's funny because, like I said, he's stuck with me as a friend now.
I'm stuck. She's stuck with me, so it is what it is.
That's what I always say. So is there any last words you want to?
Nope. I just want to say, I'm grateful and thankful. For me, it's about being humble, never forgetting where I came from, how this started, all of some of the things that I've gone through. And I have a plaque with the soles of my shoes on it. And people didn't know that I had holes in the bottom of my shoes when I first started this program, because I was walking in and out of doors where people just kept telling me no. And so the shoes, I said on the plaque, it says shoes $79.99, walk the walk, priceless. So every day for me, it's about doing something that is priceless. And that's why, I achieve and do greater and continue to do the work.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Can I get a hug?
Yep, you sure can. Yep, me too.
I'm always a hugger. I'm always like, can I get a hug?
So if anybody would like to, more information, if you want to, donate, if you want to, me to come and speak or anything like that, feel free to give me a call directly. 567-277-5352. You can just reach out to me. We can talk. If I can help you with your child, whatever I can do, if you would like to, again, donate, volunteer, advocate, whatever it may be, just reach out to me. I'm just Mr. Shawn. That's it.
That's awesome. You're more than just it, but that's good. Yeah, so, and I'll put the links to everything on the podcast and all that too.
Great,
So
I
that way we
appreciate
can do
that.
that. So anyways, everybody, thank you so much for getting on Hope today. If you're at home struggling alone, know that you're not alone. There's so many people out here struggling, but so many people that have gotten to a strength, and that's what's important. You can get up, open your eyes, just thank God you're here, take a deep breath, and you can figure out exactly how to get through your day, because I promise you, any struggle that you're going through, you can get to a strength. You guys all have a great day. Thanks.